Now we're going to turn to our first hometown hero profile for the month of July. Today's feature takes us into the Mercer County seat of Princeton. It's where the head football coach of Princeton Senior High School helped tighten the ties that bind the community together under the Friday night lights with a season that went down in the record books last year. Our Martin Stoughton brings us that story in this report.
The 2023 football season was unlike any other in the 100-year history of the program. 35-year-old head coach Keith Taylor, who played on the 2007 Princeton football squad, was in his first year of calling shots on the sideline. These Tigers clawed their way into the championship matchup, which prompted his nominator, Harry McGuire, to submit Taylor's name as a WVVA hometown hero. We shared that letter with the coach.
It means a lot. I think a lot of those words, though, really aren't for me. I think, what I do is just because the good Lord has placed me in a position to be able to do that. And that really means more to me than any of the wins and anything that goes on, football-wise. Hearing and seeing that people really see the changing of these kids' lives, because that's the only reason that I do what I do.
Coach Taylor believes his faith led him to be in the right place at the right time and in the right position for the unprecedented success the Princeton Tigers experienced on the gridiron last year.
I believe that, because Jesus Christ has put me in such a position of leadership, that's the most important thing. It's not about football. It's not about, doing anything X's and O's wise on the field and between the lines, but it's about changing these kids' lives to something that's bigger than themselves. And I think that's why we had as much success as we did this year.
Taylor adds there's so much more going on with last year's Tiger team because the players are reading what's written between the X's and O's. They learn life lessons that apply to their lives long after the Friday night lights go out.
Come right back to you. You have to understand that feeling that you feel right now, you got to make sure that is what drives you for the rest of your life.
I think football kind of gives you a look, into things that take place in your life. You face adversity, you face tough times, you face, times of uncertainty of what's going to happen throughout a game. It's the same thing that you deal with on, in your day-to-day life. You can take a lot of the things that you learn from football and apply them to your life.
And Taylor says one of the most impressive accomplishments last year is the impact the team had on the entire community.
To see our kids, they didn't understand the impact that they were making as they were going through the season. I knew, because I knew, what this meant to the community. And, our Tiger pride, and, it's always been there. People have always had high expectations for Princeton, and we always, want to establish, a good program. But these kids did something that a lot of teams have never been able to do, and that was bring everybody in the community together.
While 2023 came to an end without the championship win, these Tigers bring much more home from that game than a trophy. It's pride in doing what they set their minds to do, play their hearts out, every down in every game.
The historic season was brought, like I've said before, because all of our kids bought into, let's just win. Let's just do what I have to do to make sure that we're successful, and that is really the success that we saw.
And it's Coach Taylor's leadership and humility about the accomplishments of his team in his first season as head coach of the football program that went farther into the season than any Tiger team before that makes him and the entire 2023 Tiger football squad WVVA hometown heroes.
Now, if you know someone who goes above and beyond or just has a huge heart and does great things for our community like Coach Taylor, send us an email describing what makes your nominee a hometown hero. Send that info to hometownhero@wvva.com. Now, include your contact information and your heroes, too, if you have it. Wendy's is gifting the hometown hero nominee and nominator a free year of Wendy's cold brew. So now is definitely the time to get your nomination in.